Hey guys, sorry, it's been a while since I've done any streaming stuff, and there's some settings on my Twitch that I'm just not really can't really figure out yet. So eventually, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out the chat and all that stuff. My pal Nick Filardi had originally set it up for me, and then I just let it go for too long, and I had to redo all the settings and stuff. And it's a miracle I even figured this much out. Anyway, I've got Powers page here from the 20th anniversary graphic novel, which will be the last Power story. Um, and I'm not going to give away what's going on in the story here, but I'm going to show you what I do with touching up some stuff. This is just sort of neat tricks that you can use. So you can see I've got the scene here, which is pretty complicated. It's this character who's just destroyed everything. He's ruined a whole building, and there's a helicopter that's been slammed into a wall, cop cars, and he's thrown one truck into another cop car and stuff. So there's all sorts of chaos on this page. One of the things I want to add is some blood splatter. So one of the things that I've done is I've collected blood splatter patterns over the years. And I'm going to use some of these in. Let's grab this one. And I'm going to put these splatters. No, it's not this. I'm going to put these blood splatters on the ground. And on the walls and stuff. I need my big ass glasses because I'm blind. Okay. So let's just start out here. I'm going to turn off the contiguous on Photoshop. I'm going to grab this stuff, copy, to kind of help highlight this main figure down here. There's going to be a lot of blood directly around him. And hopefully that blood will. Let's do this again. 6. Help him stand out in the middle of all this crazy. I'm also going to warp this blood some. So see, by stretching it out like this too, it makes it feel a little more like it actually goes on this surface. So I'm taking into account the form and shape of everything around it. And I'm just going to leave that there for now while I look at some other spots that would be useful here. Think a lot around these bodies. One of the things I don't like about these bodies is like I like that I left them open so there's detail and you kind of make out individuals. You can see who's like dressed as a hero, who's dressed as like a regular person, who's dressed as a cop. But in leaving them open and not just these like kind of black shadows, they become really hard to kind of see. You know, like I like black shapes to express stuff. I don't really like that splatter. This one's pretty good. Let's copy that. Put it behind this guy. Oops. I'm going to paste it into this area. Damn it. Oh, I just accidentally did this thing. Let's go forward. There's a lot of shortcut keys I just never bothered to use. So I can almost hear people screaming at me, why don't you use the shortcut? It's just a habit I never got into. Let's grab this blood down here. I've also got some brushes that I can use as well. Got some brushes that I could use as well. But for whatever reason, this is what initially came to my mind is, oh, I want to do this. Start by this guy here. Paste into. Now, even though I pasted into that, because the bodies are sort of open, the blood won't go behind them. But that's okay because they're all in different layers. So I'm going to lower the opacity and then I'll kind of cut around it, But I could probably even just leave it like this, and Nick Filardi, the colorist, would know exactly what to do with it and how to deal with what I'm laying down. Since I'm distorting this blood and stuff too, I can actually use the same one that I just used over there. And then I'll flip it. That way the patterns won't really be the same. It's starting to come together. Here I'll give you an example of using the brushes. I might sneeze. So some of these brushes I got elsewhere, some of them I bought, some of them I made myself. Here's a good splatter brush, and then I'm going to distort the shape of it because we're looking down at an angle, so it'll be roundish. Down here. Let's make it a little smaller. Got to be conscious that the same pattern isn't really showing up. That's pretty good. Where else might I want some? So behind here. I'll just leave that there. Throw some blood around there. Oh shit, that's the wrong layer. But that's okay. That's okay. Lay down some more splatter under this guy. It's another layer again, so I don't have to worry about it. Let's go way smaller with this, and let's change it. Let's change it up to this guy. I really like the splatter. Kind of a classic splatter shape. Make sure I'm not on the same layer. Let's put some there. Let's turn this around. Make it round again. Flat. Can also make it white. Although because of opacity issues, I'm actually just going to lay it down right here on the same layer. Oops. Alright, I think I'm happy enough with the splatter. This dude here is going to have blood all over him. I'm going to have to play around and sort of experiment with that, so I'm not going to do that on here because I don't know how to talk and think at the same time. Yeah, Yeah, like I already feel very babbly, and nobody wants to hear me just blah blah blah. Use half words. Oops. Let's make him this blood black. All right. Now I'm going to flatten these. I'm just going to make them all to one blood layer. Now lower this opacity down. Now I'll go in there, and then now I'll clean up stuff. I can use eraser. I kind of tend to like to use the lasso for some reason. I don't know why. It doesn't necessarily make sense, but actually I will use eraser because a lot of this willy-nilly little stuff is going to be hard. And I'm not going to do like everything because again, Nick Filardi knows his shit. So like I can leave these on this other layer, and he's gonna make different kinds of blood and different kinds of shades and different patterns depending on where it is on the page. So even like this blood that's like just splattered on the floor versus the blood and guts that's coming out of this character, like he can give them different textures and different feelings. So I technically probably don't even need to get rid of all this. I think my yeah. Sometimes my what's that word? The Wacom driver dies, and then you never get the shape dynamics. They just die on you, and then you have to like restart the thing, and it's all a pain in the ass. I feel like this has got to be boring if you just watch me work, but I guess that's why people are watching, right? Really, what I'm hoping to do here is just to find stuff that just really describes shape and dimension, you know, to make things pop out, make things either stand out or not stand out. You can see here where I accidentally drew it on the same layer. Not a big deal. See, I'm like leaving open spots. I'm leaving some places where there's blood that you can see. There's other spots where you can't. Just to help give it layers and texture. And it's weird that gore has really become a big part of Powers. There was somebody I talked to a long time ago who said that they're very, very squeamish, and they literally have to have their wife kind of bookmark the page for them if it's too much gore because they have a strong gag reflex, and they've almost thrown up several times reading Powers. I guess that's a compliment. You know, it's pretty cool. I guess. So I feel pretty happy with that. Now the one thing that I'm kind of struggling with is this character here. He's throwing this SWAT truck, but you can't even tell it's a SWAT truck. So one of the things I had planned on doing, besides labeling things correctly for Nick, let's go blood. And then I'm going to lock it so I don't accidentally draw on top of it or whatever. Just write the big old words SWAT on it. Let's use that font. It'll clear things up a lot. I don't like that font. I'm going to use the font that I always use. Always use this font. Impact Bold. I don't know why. It's just nice, big, thick letters. Just helps me. I don't know. Just makes sense to me. And one of the things that I like to do is I'll turn the font into just artwork. So I'll what's going on here? The Transformers on. I'm getting text from Brian Dennis. To turn the font just directly into what the fuck? I hit the wrong button. Into artwork. It's just easier for me to play with and manipulate. But now you'll notice that the truck is being crushed, so the other fun thing is to just warp this. This is one of the reasons why I'll turn it into artwork so I can manipulate it. And because I jump around a lot between my SketchUp and Photoshop, what happens is I kind of forget where all the buttons are and stuff. Sometimes I'll grab my screen here because I also work on my iPad a lot, and I'll end up grabbing my Cintiq screen and trying to move it around as if that does something, but it does not. Besides that sort of distort thing, the other neat thing to do is to go here to liquefy. Now it's going to take me a minute to get this filter up, and you can see I kind of move things around, move the words around to the form of the truck a little bit better. Now I can't really see the truck underneath it, but I sort of remember where it's at. Plus this is supposed to be a big fucking crash and a mess now, right? So let's see. Let's see what kind of job I've done here. Let's see if this works. It looks alright. It'll get the job done. Now what I want to do is go in here and let's see if I grab the inside. Oh, that worked out nice and easy. I can grab this like explosion thing. So I've selected that area. Now I go back up to where it says SWAT and I delete it, and yeah, takes out everything I don't need on there. I'm losing the S a bit, but I mean you can tell. You can tell what it's supposed to be. Throw in a little bit more blue there. Nah, fuck it. And I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to finesse this some, but really, I don't need to spend too much time on it because I think it's self-explanatory. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to flatten it to the art or anything. I'm just going to mark it. I'm going to leave it here for Nick to do as he will. Alright, just a quick thing here, just to show you some blood and stuff. I got to put blood on Dina's face. I'm going to draw some. I'm going to splatter some in. I'll let you know how this thing works out. Like he's just going to be covered in blood. So basically, I'm going to do something just to show you. I'll show you what I'm thinking of, and we'll see if it works. So it'll be something like this. Something like this is going to go on. Like it's just mostly black and just blood covered. Or actually, be all black, and then I'll put the blood in here white. And then I'll figure out what other details I need to put in, if anything, because maybe he's just covered in blood and soot and guts and shit and stuff. Um, so that's the idea of what I'm going to do there. Um, anyway, that's kind of it. Just showing you some tricks. I'm still got to finagle and play around with this a little bit more. There's going to be some more details and stuff. Something like a page like this where there's this much crazy shit going on, and I have to make sure that the composition's working. It's kind of a mess. I think it works, but it's just hard to fucking say sometimes. Um, so, you know, a lot of times I'll sit on it for a few days, or I'll make sure I look at it at a much smaller size, and I'll flip the image around so that I can get an idea of what's going on. But that's just like a little trick of how to use some. I mean, you could sit there and you could draw the. I could draw the blood in there too. One of the reasons I like doing stuff like this is sometimes after a long day, I'm just wiped out. You know, I don't have too much energy, right? So, uh, like sitting there and like drawing the blood, I could just end up not finishing the page that day. Whereas if I go in with my brushes and some other blood pattern splatters that I have, and then put them in there, I could do that much longer than if I had to sit there and draw it, and I could actually be done faster. So it's just a tool to kind of help you bear with things and what kind of artist you are. So I'm hoping you're digging this. I really like this Dina figure over here. Uh, sort of slouched and looking all messed up. Um, yeah, I hope you're gonna. I hope this was useful. Take care, guys.